So I've waited till it was dark. I wanted to get this light bar out so I can show you how amazing it is. This was given to me some time ago, and I hooked it up. 3 fuses later, I hadn't figured it out yet. But trust me, when this thing was shining, it was astounding. It is, it just blows anything I've ever seen away. The distance, and it also is somewhat curved, and so the radius of it, when I stood out there, there was no shadow around me. It was just unbelievable. I cannot wait to actually get some work lights on this. It's, you don't always get the opportunity to work in the light, and so sometimes you got to work in the dark, and it is so nice to have good light. This is exactly what we're talking about in our passage today, is the idea of the shadows and how those shadows are gone away, and now we have that which is true. And so in Hebrews 10:1 and also verse 4, it says, "For the law, having the shadow of good things to come, and the very image of the things, for it is not possible that the blood of bulls and goats should take away sin." In reading this, I'm thinking about conversations that I've had with several individuals this week, and what keeps coming up is Plato's Republic. And there is an allegory in Plato's Republic of the cave. And you may not be familiar with it, but there are individuals that are chained to the floor of this cave, and they're looking against a wall. Their back is against another wall. And beyond the wall behind them are individuals that are parading behind this wall, and they're carrying things up above them. And so there may be an image of a lamb that they're carrying, and at the entrance of the cave there's a fire, so it projects a shadow up on the wall that they can see. And so these individuals say the one carrying the lamb is actually making the sound of the lamb, and so that becomes the reality to the one that's chained. One of these individuals gets free, and he can see what's behind the wall, and he almost can't believe it. He ends up making his way out of the cave. Now, it's a painful journey as his eyes are trying to adjust to the light. But once he gets out, he sees the grass and the water and the trees and the animals and the birds and the sun. And he's absolutely amazed. He makes his way back in, and his eyes are once again having trouble adjusting. They don't want to believe him, so they play a little game with him. Name the shadow on the wall. Well, he's not doing well because his eyes aren't adjusting, and so they mock him. This is a really good illustration of really what's going on. Is the child of God that has been freed from his shackles and has been drawn to the light and sees the world as it is and realizes it is way more than just something physical, that there is a spiritual world going on. In our devotionals today, in the second paragraph, the devotionalist quotes a mayor and 2 presidents that talk about this very thing, about things that are happening in the shadows. And you can read it down in the description part. They have an inkling of what's going on. But behind all of that is a spiritual world that's happening. I would encourage you to read Daniel 10. It really talks about this. But the child of God knows that. But he also knows that his responsibility is to go back down into the cave and to convince those that are in bondage that they could have freedom and they can be in the light. Light is important. You can get a lot done in light. There's growth in light. I want to read this. In Revelation 21:23, "And the city had no need of the sun, neither of the moon to shine, for the glory of God did lighten it, and the Lamb is the light thereof." For the child of God right now, he has that light within him. The Gospel of John talks about this. We see that we have been received that light, that we might be the light of the world, that we might do the job of being the ambassadors for Christ to bring that light to those that are in the darkness, that have been satisfied with the shadows and shackled to the floor. Let us be encouraged by the Word of God. Let us be motivated by the light of truth to do the work that He's called us to do. I encourage you to read this devotional. I'd encourage you to read Hebrews chapter 10. Be encouraged by what God has done. And let us realize there's a job that we need to do. If there's light to be cast, there's probably something to do. May God bless you.